You know, we all know about David and Goliath and how there's this young shepherd boy that slays this like 9-foot-tall Philistine giant. Well, in 1 Samuel chapter 17, at verse 32, we know that David goes to Saul and he's like, hey, you know, don't worry about this Philistine. I'll go and fight him. And Saul says, don't be ridiculous. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy. He's been a man of war since his youth. But then David persists. He says, I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats. And when a lion or a bear came to steal a lamb from the flock, I would go after it with a club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. If the animal turned on me, I would catch it by the jaw and club it to death. I have done this to both lions and bears, and I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine. Now, when we hear that, we're like, yeah, David.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But if you go back just one chapter, and this is where I think the whole idea of rejection being a gift really seeped into my understanding. If you go back just one chapter, you find that the Lord decided that he was going to make one of Jesse's sons the next king of Israel, right? And for those who know the story, it turns out that it was David who was going to be the next king of Israel. But when the prophet Samuel goes to Jesse's house, and he's like, show me all of your sons, because I'm going to anoint one of them king. He didn't tell him that, but he knew. It says that all of the sons came to Samuel. Jesse had all his sons come to Samuel. But there was one that was left out in a field by himself to tend sheep. And so Samuel looks at all the sons and he's like, none of these are the chosen one. Are these all the sons you have? And Jesse is like, oh, they're still the youngest. He's out in the field tending the sheep. So it wasn't that David wasn't there because they didn't know where he was. It's that they knew where he was, but they didn't invite him. Oh. And in that case, him being left out in the field to tend those sheep and fight those lions and fight those bears becomes the necessary precondition for him to have the courage in the Lord to defeat Goliath. Wow. And the contention that I've been making, and I really want people to understand, is that every rejection contains the gift of an inflection point. Because rejection positions you for purpose. In the case of David, he would have never had the courage to stand before Goliath. I mean, warriors were afraid of Goliath. Here's this young shepherd boy who's like, I'll fight him. Why? Because he was left out in a field by himself to tend sheep that enabled him to fight off lions and bears with nobody but the Lord. And that gave him the courage he needed to stand and to fight. So rejection positions you for purpose. What I encourage people to do is when you experience rejection, instead of saying, oh, what's wrong with me? Ask, God, what are you positioning me for?